Chief Constable for Crime Operations. This afternoon I'm given this media facility with Mr. Chris Burke, the Chief Executive for Stepping Hill Hospital. We are aware, obviously, as you all are, of the decision by the Criminal Prosecution Service to discontinue the charges against Rebecca Layton this afternoon. It is important at this point in time that I really do set out on behalf of Greater Manchester Police and the hospital our sincere condolences and thoughts to those people badly affected by this incident, and particularly the victims who have tragically died as part of this investigation. I want to set out, if I could, the degree of complexity of this investigation, but it would be remiss not to start off by just referring to the decision by the CPS to discontinue at this time. I need to be really clear that at the time that Rebecca was charged, there was sufficient evidence in our view, and equally importantly the view of the Crown Prosecution Service, to bring charges around contamination and theft. The decision to discontinue is that the evidence we had at the time has not built towards the Crown Court phase so that we could bring a case at this point. Nonetheless, all parties involved in this investigation, and at present that is close on 700 individuals we are looking at and interviewing, within the parameters of the investigation. To give some kind of understanding of the scale of this investigation, within the Hospital of Greater Manchester, it is one of the most complex and challenging investigations that we've faced. And that comes about as a result of dealing with, firstly, an exceptionally difficult crime scene to manage, where we are working within the confines of a very busy hospital with many hundreds of people who come through that hospital, particularly medical staff, visitors and patients who have access in various degrees to products within the hospital. So from an investigation point of view, as I say, we're already looking at over 700 individuals, and importantly in terms of victims that we've identified by working closely with the coroner and particularly with our medical experts, we've been able to identify that between the 1st of June this year and the 16th of July this year, we are looking at potentially 40 victims at this point in time, of which 7 tragically have died whilst within Stepping Hill Hospital. I need to emphasise that we're working closely with the coroner. This is an investigation into suspicious deaths, because the key element of moving to a murder inquiry would be establishing that causal link between the cause of death and the resulting outcome. Now, it's important to understand that all these people who came into the contact in the hospital were particularly poorly people, and so you have to differentiate between the cause of deaths in terms of the fatalities, between what caused that death. And that's where a lot of our efforts are going in with our medical teams and our forensics teams to understand the impact of any contamination, although we are clear that there was contamination in a number of saline products. In terms of the extent of that process, we've already interviewed over 200 individuals, and we'll be continuing that work in the weeks ahead. It will take a number of weeks to complete the investigative process, the forensic process, and most importantly, the medical analysis that has to take place to go through the pages and hundreds of pages of records, the actus of staff, and the consequent either illness or fatality for the individuals. I hope the community of Stockport particularly understand this is going to take some time to work through and work with us and maintain that confidence. What I can say though, particularly importantly, is that there have been no further incidents of contamination since the 16th of July, when working with my colleagues from the health authorities and the hospital, enhanced security measures have been put in place, and this investigation really flipped through into full energy. We understand that there will be some concern in the community, but I would encourage people to either contact us directly or work through Crime Stoppers if they have information regarding the possible suspect of this contamination, or any information they may have that could help the investigation team come to a more speedy conclusion. But it is a complex investigation. It will take us time to work through, but like any investigation, this is a search for the truth. And whilst we wish to prosecute those responsible and bring them to justice, we equally have to discount and eliminate people from the inquiry who are not responsible and are dedicated medical professionals. Finally, I would say that it's important for people to realise that this investigation would not have been commenced but for the professional actions of the nursing and medical staff within Stepping Hill. I'll take some questions after Chris has had a chance to make his statement.
Firstly, I'd just like to say our thoughts are with the families of those that have been affected and suffered bereavements in Stepping Hospital as a consequence of this malicious act. We are working very closely with the police on the investigation and will continue to do so in the coming weeks. The security at the hospital, both in terms of a physical presence on site and at wards, remains high, and enhanced drug and medical regimes are in place and have remained in place since July and 16th of July. And just to repeat, there have been no incidents whatsoever since we brought in these enhanced security and medical drugs regimes. Just to say that we are and continue to work very, very closely with the police on this very complex investigation. The hospital is endeavouring to treat patients as normal, and we are receiving patients as normal today.
Please, I should just step back, please, David, if that's okay. Just take a second. Okay.